Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to the cluttered workspace, better known as the eastern wing of the Stinkbug Works. Today I'm just kind of picking up the pieces from yesterday. I was busy putting proposals together. I've got them all set and ready to go. Have I signed? Yeah, they're signed, sealed, and ready to go out in Monday's mail at 0800. Anyhow, I don't have too much new noi to tell you. So I think I'll be pimp daddy for a bit here and let you know that there are 2 weeks and 2 days to get your submittals in for the 2S challenge. Remember, for the 2S challenge, all you have to do is have a boat that runs on 2S. It could have 37 motors on it, but it has to run on 2S. And you can't put any little voltage regulators behind the 2S and bump it up to something. It's got to go 2S into your speed control and into your motor. So that's the rules. You got to have 2S and you got to do the fastest 10 laps around 2 buoys that are 100 feet apart. And I've seen slow boats that can just hug the buoys and stay real close, and they get a pretty good time. I've seen faster boats that have to swing wide around the corner, wind up doing almost a circle, and they're doing about the same time. They're doing a little faster. The time to beat right now is 1 minute and 16 seconds. So that would be 76 seconds to do 10 laps. Who can do 10 laps with a 2S boat in less than 76 seconds? The winner will get his choice, his or her choice, of the MHZ Micro Hydro done up in John Deere colors with Farmer John wearing a MAGA hat. That's prize number 1. Prize number 2 is the M450 Cobra. All you need to do is glue it all together. Prize number 3 is Atlas and short circuit kits. And I have some miscellaneous surprise things I'll send out as I see fit. But right now, there's only like 4 or 5 competitors, and I have more prizes than that. So get your entry in. Heck, this thing's going to be a 2S boat. You know what? Let me digress for a moment, so this video will be longer than 4 minutes. One of my viewers, who for the sake of this shall be remain unnamed, sent me this. And if it's successful, I'll reveal his name. And if it's not successful, I won't reveal his name. So he sent me this, and he also sent me a link to a video of his version of this running. And here's what it does, and it's rather strange. It will, let me see if I can find here's a small boat. Imagine this is a small boat. It would run along the water, and as soon as he would nail it, it would want to roll up on one edge. Now, he had it running a bit wet, and that may or may not be it. It may be the design of this hull. Remember, this hull was designed by standby, a computer nerd, and not necessarily an RC boating nerd. I mean, he got a lot of things wrong. I mean, I already threw them out. There were brackets included here for a rudder and such. And the rudder was this, 3D printed plastic with a 3D printed plastic shaft. Now, how long do you think it took to break that shaft? And the answer is, I don't know. It arrived broken. So, of course, that was absolutely out. And there were a number of other things. But suffice it to say, this wasn't really designed by a boater. Heck, the stuffing tube was solid. I mean, with 3D printing, you could leave a hole in there if you wanted, but no, he made it solid. So I attribute this running along and then rolling over on the edge when you hit too much power as not so much a function of torque. I think torque amplifies it, but I think it's this hull design. I think this concave Batman swoopy thing. I should have made this the bat boat. I need to go out and run the bat boat. Oh, my plan is I'm going to go run boats this week because I have no perk tests. Anyway, I attribute this rolling over thing to this hull. At a certain speed, the lift, drag, thrust, weight equation goes out the window, and this thing says, I'm going to roll over on my side. I mean, we shall see what this does, but I don't expect much, and I may very well wind up pulling all the gear out of this. I used bolt-on stuff for everything other than this servo tray. Oh, God. I'll tell you the story of this servo, this little puppy. So I use an HS77BB ball bearing in a lot of my bigger boats, my older, bigger boats. The HS77's been around for a long, 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 long time. Anyway, I used to have a whole bunch of HS77 servos. And I have a box full of servos. So when I went to build this boat, I'm looking around and I go in my box full of servo mounts and I find this carbon fiber mount. It was actually from MHZ, I think. And I said, oh, that'll work in this boat. And there's probably nothing in the near future that'll use that. And if I need another one, I know where I can get one. So I slammed that in and put this in, and then later discovered this is a retract servo, and it only knows two positions, up and down. Anything in between, it doesn't understand. It has no clue what moving 2 degrees is. It just doesn't understand that. It only knows up and down. So I built this whole thing, and then I said, I'll replace this servo. And I go through my box of servos, and there is no HS77. There's no HS77 equivalent. I actually have to go out and buy a servo for this thing, which defeats my entire goal of building this thing from spare parts. So while everything seemed to fit, for example, this push rod right here, I glued in the servo mount wherever I put the rudder, wherever it is the rudder I had and so forth. And I said, I need a servo arm. And I went in my box of servo arms and pulled this one out. And by golly, if it wasn't exactly, I've got 2 millimeters here and 1 millimeter here extra. I got 3 millimeters extra. I couldn't have cut it that close. Had I done it in the shop, I would have left more just because. But that's the way everything in this boat seemed to work out. It just fit there. So we shall see. We shall see. I don't know if this drive's going to help me or hurt me. We're going to find out. If not, like I said, this stuff is, well, that shaft is epoxied in there, but that shaft is easily replaceable. I have more of them. There you go, boys and girls, an adequate length video. Until next time, jet out.